Hello, beautiful people. Hope you're all having a spectacular day. We'll just do a bit of an energy shimmy, get everything working and get our brains up and running for this day. It's a bit chilly here in Queensland, 21 degrees, pretty funny. So Celsius, of course. So it's not hot, not too cold. It's quite pleasant and lovely and good boot wearing weather. So that's really nice. Okay. So, some big shimmies going on the planet at the moment. As always, a lot more people are waking up. There's a lot more truth coming out. There's a lot of people who still have cognitive dissonance and they're not going to shift. You know, their minds are going to be made up about believing whatever they want to believe. And we all need to have empathy. So we need to have empathy for what people believe because that's where they are. You can't shift someone's energy to make them believe something they don't believe by one conversation, 3 conversations. Sometimes it might take a lifetime for people to see what's going on. So let's just have a think. Okay, so run that central meridian. We're going to open our hearts, open our minds. Allow ourselves to see the beauty in the world. Allow ourselves to feel the truth. Truth is different for everyone as well. If someone comes from a place of trauma, then their truth is that the world isn't a safe place. If someone comes from a place of total safety and security, then they may actually love the idea of getting out of that and getting into a place where they feel out of control or out of safety. They want to feel something different. Everyone's different. We never know all the stories behind someone. Okay, emotional stress release points, ESRs, and we're after pulsing on the left and right sides. And I'm going to do the integration points. So firstly, brokers to brokers. So the brokers' points are here and here. And brokers, okay, it's escape, submission, freeze. Brokers are about the words that come out of our mouth. Now, one of the problems on the planet is that people aren't hearing, people aren't listening, people aren't paying attention. And because we've all got our own little internal stories, it's really easy to miss the stories, to miss the gems that we can get from other people when we're too busy inside our own heads. So the brokers area, and this one's escape, submission, freeze, the brokers area, when it's working well, it's connected to thought, it's connected to love, it's connected to our reason so that we don't say things that we will regret saying. Okay. There's a flower essence actually showing up. Just let me see. Waratah. Okay. So once again, it's about the words that come out of our mouth, and Waratah is for a deep held, it's a deep depression that comes and it really takes a hold. And we've just chatted a lot about this in the last year. How often are you holding back saying what you're thinking? Or how often are you the victim of hearing what someone else is saying to you because they have a different BS belief system than you do? So that's the flower essence, Waratah in the Australian bush flower essence. It helps us to reconnect with our source. It helps us to reconnect with our innate knowing and our skills that we've had inherited down through the generations. Those skills of logic and reason and being able to think like human beings and being able to listen to information and work out for ourselves what we actually believe and think about something. I'll just double check it again. Okay, so now I'm going to the next area. Right, so this is the Wernicke's area. Wernicke's, it's another area that's right next to the Broca's area, and Wernicke's is the thoughts behind the words. Now on the left side, the thoughts are the logical side, and on the right side, the thoughts are the emotional thoughts. So sometimes when these Wernicke's areas, you know, on the days when you're in a bad mood or you're feeling upset and people make jokes and you just don't get it, or it just doesn't feel funny, Wernicke's is the area where it gets a bit out of kilter. So I always, you know, so when we're feeling a bit testy, someone says something funny but we don't find it funny at all, these areas aren't up and running. And that's an old pain and punishment circuit shutting that down. So run that central meridian, get that energy going to the conscious brain, hold your emotional stress release points. Sighs and yawns and burps, they're all a sign the energy's shifting. Beautiful. Okay, so the next one along is auditory integration points. Okay. Okay, that one's fear, threat, danger. So auditory integration is exactly like it sounds. It's what are you hearing and how well are you integrating that into your knowledge base. So it can be stuff we're saying to ourselves. So if we're having a bad day, then sometimes we are our own worst enemies. You know, it's like we just give ourselves that negative feedback loop all day long. I always joke that it's, you know, people who are people who apologize too much. You know, I've got a lot of clients who apologize for everything. They'll walk past me and stand on my foot and they'll go, oh, sorry about that. I know that one's probably okay. But just say I kicked them and they would apologize to me. Sorry, I meant it the other way around. But you know what I mean? Some people over-apologize and it's almost like they're asking permission to be here on the planet. You have permission. You are human. You're allowed to be here. Okay, there it goes, pulsing away. Now I'm going to check the connection between those three, Broca's, Wernicke's and auditory integration points. Oh, okay. That's a disconnect with anger, so anger, frustration, rage. And of course, because it's to do with what you're hearing, what you're thinking, what you're saying, you can imagine how anger really throws those out of whack. And it's almost like, because people are so angry in the last year, our humanist behaviour is going down and down. I mean, I suppose this is what happens over a year when we're masking people and making people angry and feeding people a narrative of fear for 15 months and running. It's a very interesting time to be on the planet. That's better. And then the last little integration point is rip and lip. So that's the left and right integration points. So they help to integrate all incoming visual, vestibular and auditory information. So everything we're seeing, hearing, feeling, integrating that information, and then the brain decides where to store that information. So it's a hugely busy area of the brain. And then when we need to access that information, we go and grab it as well. So if these areas aren't working well, or they're being blocked because of fear or rage or stress or trauma or a narrative that isn't fitting with our belief systems, our own BS, then it can really mess with us. We need to look after our infinite spark. We need to look after that light and love inside us. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to be free. We deserve to be loved and lovable. Life is good. Okay, now I'm going to check all 8. So auditory integration points, Broca's, Wernicke's, Auditory. Both sides simultaneously. No, that's okay. I'll check through chakras. Throat. Throat, okay. So just a little bit of throat chakra, hands over the throat. What I tend to do, just to sort of show you side on, sort of, the chakra itself is pulsing and it should be further out. So what I tend to do is just allow the energy to increase. And once again, it's often a sigh or a yawn or something that lets me know that that energy has shifted. Excusez-moi. So, message for the day, we all need more empathy. We need empathy for people without our opinions. We need empathy for our own BS and their BS. We need empathy on this planet so that we can come to a place of calm and safety and forgiveness and love, because that's the only way we're going to survive and thrive as human beings. Let's move forward with love and compassion and empathy. Love you. Have a great day.